These are this afternoon's top stories. Man found unresponsive on road in St. Peter's. Former presidents in court for more benefits, and bipartisan backlash over Trump's proposal to ban Muslim entry. Good afternoon. Welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Tuesday, December 8th, 2015. I am JD Keynes. In national news, ZIZ News has learned that this morning a man was found unresponsive in the St. Peter's area. An official from the Police Force's Public Relations Department has said that they are investigating that incident, but said details are still sketchy. The official, however, confirmed that the man was taken to the hospital where he later died. Nevis's Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Vance Amory, used the opening portion of his 2015 budget presentation to praise the partnership between his Concerned Citizens Movement CCM administration, the People's Labour Party, and the People's Action Movement. Amory said because of the partnership, his administration and Nevis by extension was receiving its fair share from the federal government. He noted that because of the partnership, his government is better poised to promote economic stability on Nevis.
Your system administration will continue to implement measures to enhance economic stabilization in the short run, while simultaneously reinforcing the foundation for economic expansion in the medium to long term.
He said they continue to see increases in recurrent revenue by more than 5% annually over the past 2 years.
Especially in areas such as import duties, transfer taxes, revenue from financial services sector, and the value-added tax. Mr. President, we also see additional evidence of this growth in our annual employment data, which show average employment for the first half of 2015, which stood at 5,624 employees when compared to 5,467 employees for the entire year of 2014.
Premier of Nevis and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Vance Amory. It is expected to be an eventful day where the 44th edition of St. Kitts and Nevis's Carnival is concerned. This morning, the organization's public relations team posted to the social networking site Facebook that several announcements can be expected throughout today. The announcements relate to the Road March competition, the Soca Monarch contest in the spirit of Christmas, and the pageants that have been recently added to the festival. Christmas was in the air at the Berkeley Memorial or Circus on Monday evening as locals showed their talents to an appreciative audience during the first night of In the Spirit of Christmas 2015. Minister of Culture, the Honorable Sean Richards, in delivering opening remarks, said In the Spirit of Christmas plays a significant role as it reminds citizens that this season is about more than just carnival celebrations.
I want to say to persons that the birth of Christ is even more important, and we must recognize it and we must celebrate it. As such, the activities which are being held here over the next 4 days give recognition to such. These are activities which are also part of our culture, the very same culture that we celebrate as part of the carnival activities. The singing, the dancing, the various art forms which will be displayed here over the next 4 nights help to remind us of Christmas and help to remind us to indeed give thanks to God for the birth of His Son and the fact that we can be saved, that there is an afterlife.
The first evening saw musical renditions by various choirs, bands, and solo artists. There was also dancing, recitations of poems, and a steel pan presentation. In attendance were contestants of the National Carnival Queen, National Talented Teen, and National Swimsuit pageants, as well as the National GQ Show contestants, all of whom made contributions to the concert.
Studies have shown that Christmas advertising for businesses can generate above average revenues. This holiday season, ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation wants to help you reach potential customers and increase your revenues. Whether you're a small, medium, or large business, ZIZ Broadcasting has designed a consolidated advertising package with you in mind on ZIZ Radio, television, ZIZ Online, and Big Wave FM 96.7. This holiday season, let ZIZ Broadcasting help you make the connection with potential customers. With deals starting as low as $351. Call our sales team at 465-2621 and let us help you reach your goal. More traffic, more sales, more revenue.
Regionally, Guyana's opposition leader Barrett Jagdeo and former President Donald Ramata are both suing the state for capping their benefits as past presidents. Details in this report.
Former Presidents Barrett Jagdeo and Donald Ramata have moved to the courts, challenging the decision to cap their benefits. Attorney General Basil Williams made the disclosure this morning at a press conference. Court documents seen by this newscast show that the legal proceedings were filed on November 11th last by attorney-at-law Merceline Bacchus, who was representing the two. The matter, according to the AG, will be heard on December 11th before Acting Chief Justice Ian Chang and Justice Narendra Singh. According to the documents, the two are requesting an order stating that the amendments to the former President's Benefits and Facilities Act does not apply to them since they demitted office before the amendments came into being. The Attorney General said in the National Assembly it was ventilated whether the country could have afforded to pay such benefits to the former presidents.
In fact, being incurred by President Jagdeo, for example, were enormous. And the question is whether, in the light of the pension that he was enjoying and other facilities, whether
under the amended act, former presidents are receiving $75,000 for water, electricity, and telephone expenses per month, a $200,000 limit in medical expenses and treatment, $300,000 staff including a gardener, among other things. Previously, the benefits were uncapped, which saw former President Barrett Jagdeo racking up millions of dollars in expenses, which included overseas travel, medical expenses, and utilities. Reporting for Capital News, I for Wharton.
The Secretary General of the Caribbean Community CARICOM, Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, has echoed the call of the region's leaders that the special circumstances of small island developing states must also be reflected within the context of an agreement coming out of the COP21 negotiations in Paris. More in this report.
They have come to Paris in full force with the determination to succeed. But whether that optimism will translate into an acceptable agreement for Caribbean leaders and negotiators remains to be seen. The Secretary General of CARICOM, Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, says the region wants to ensure that the Paris Agreement has enshrined in it a provision for review every 5 years.
There ought to be transparency in terms of the commitments that countries make to this. And I would hope that the commitments that the developed countries have made to provide financing are commitments that they will honor. And I dare add that such commitment to provide financing should not be tied up in all the bureaucratic maneuverings to access this financing.
Ambassador LaRocque also expressed the strong belief that the vulnerability that small island states exhibit should be a major criteria for accessing those resources and not per capita income. According to him, climate change does not know per capita income. We are vulnerable and the assistance must be provided on the basis of our vulnerability.
We are currently experiencing severe climatic events in our region, so we know that climate change is upon us. And we certainly cannot leave here without some indication or some setting of a goal of seeking to achieve 1.5 degrees for the continued survival of our region of small island developing states.
The CARICOM Secretary General is also very hopeful, noting that we cannot be engaged in this without being hopeful. He pointed out that there are a number of countries who share in various combinations some of the issues being put forward by the Caribbean.
Internationally, Donald Trump is under fire from all sides after saying Muslims should be banned from entering the United States. Trump's supporters cheered the idea last night at a rally in South Carolina, but opponents and political commentators are going ballistic. Republican Senator Jeff Flake said, quote, "Just when you think he can't stoop lower, he does." Major Garrett has more.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
The Constitution protects freedom of religion and provides due process and equal protection under the law, rights that Trump's proposal would trample. The GOP frontrunner said the country, quote, has no choice.
We're out of control. We have no idea who's coming into our country. We have no idea if they love us or if they hate us. We have no idea if they want to bomb us.
Trump cited polling data from the Center for Security Policy that he said indicated dangerous levels of anti-American sentiment among Muslims in the United States. The Southern Poverty Law Center, which tracks hate groups nationwide, described the head of the center, Frank Gaffney, as, quote, one of America's most notorious Islamophobes. Campaigning in South Carolina, Trump offered no exceptions for Muslims serving in the U.S. military. Later, he made an exemption on Fox News.
No, they would come home. They would be able, anybody here stays.
Matt Moore, chairman of the South Carolina GOP, said, quote, Donald Trump's bad idea and rhetoric send a shiver down my spine. Jennifer Horn, chair of the New Hampshire GOP, called the idea un-Republican and unconstitutional. Former Vice President Dick Cheney said this.
This whole notion that somehow we can just say no more Muslims, just ban a whole religion, goes against everything we stand for and believe in.
Jeb Bush called it unhinged. Chris Christie, ridiculous. John Kasich, divisive. Marco Rubio, offensive. Carly Fiorina added this.
We're now going to violate the constitutional rights of citizens because of Donald Trump? I don't think so.
Hillary Clinton called Trump's idea reprehensible. Bernie Sanders said it was racist. Martin O'Malley said Trump is now campaigning as a fascist demagogue. And the Council on American Islamic Relations said, quote, Trump sounds more like the leader of a lynch mob than the leader of the United States of America.
In more international news, dangerous smog in Beijing has forced millions to live under unprecedented restrictions like closed schools and a ban on some driving. Heavy pollution triggered the Chinese capital's first ever red alert. Seth Jones reports.
The all-too-familiar blanket of smog once again enveloped Beijing. But this time it prompted the government to issue that red alert, which closed schools, shut construction sites, and took some cars off the road. It was busy outside this Beijing Children's Hospital, where we met parents worried about their kids' respiratory problem.
How is he feeling?
He's feeling really, really bad, actually, and for a few days.
Robin Liu says several doctors suggested his 7-year-old's lung ailment may be related to the smog.
You're wearing a mask to try to protect yourself.
Yep.
Do you feel that your government is doing its part?
I think they also doing their also part as well.
People do what they can to try to protect themselves. We have 3 of these air purifiers here at home. We changed the filter today. This is the new white one, and take a look at the one from just 2 months ago.
Beijing's pollution had been improving in the first 10 months of this year compared to 2014, but still 5th grader Jason Zhang couldn't go to school today.
What do you think about that?
So bad.
And as to why the red alert was issued, here's the straight talk of a 10-year-old.
Just last week, the pollution was worse, but there was no red alert.
Yes.
What do you think of that?
Kind of weird.
Kind of weird?
Of course, last week, China's president was in Paris for the climate conference, and the government here was widely criticized for not sounding the pollution alarm. Schools and factories are expected to remain closed for 2 more days until a cold snap comes in and hopefully pushes out the pollution.
And now taking a look at the weather, temperatures today will peak at 77 degrees Fahrenheit with a moderate breeze blowing from the east-southeast at 13 miles per hour. Today will be sunny to partly cloudy with a chance of light passing shower or two. Tonight is expected to be partly cloudy with a good chance of some brief passing showers. Seas are moderate with heights of up to 5 feet. Sunset this evening will be at 5:37. That's pretty early. And sunrise for tomorrow will be at 6:29 a.m. That brings us to the end of ZIZ's Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. I have been your presenter, JD Keynes. Have a great afternoon.